one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for coming out in this heat wave. You can stay as long as you can while it's cool. Our old business first is Leroy, 2025-06Z on Haviland Road. Here they are. Welcome again.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
I think
Thanks.
this is going to be, I think from the last meeting, we were, your explanation of what you were doing, and you were looking for a permit on a side yard setback of 16 feet 1 inch, where 20 is required to replace your deck. And I think we had a good discussion. Let me,
Yeah, I believe the public hearing was closed at the last meeting.
yes, the public hearing was closed last year. So we are, unless you have other information that I think you were pretty clear in terms of what you're trying to do. We have a resolution.
Yes. Resolution to grant an area variance, Stephen Leroy, 67 Haviland Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, 12601, June 25th, 2025, resolution number 2025-06Z. Whereas the applicant Neil Machino, on behalf of property owner Stephen Leroy, has submitted an application for an area variance for the construction of a replacement deck attached to a single-family dwelling, the project, at property located at 67 Haviland Road, Poughkeepsie, in the town of Hyde Park, New York, 12601, identified as tax parcel number 6164-02-8044736 in the neighborhood zoning district. And whereas the project is depicted on a plan entitled New Deck for the Leroy Residence, prepared by J. DeMarco of Superior Designs, dated April 13th, 2025, and whereas the applicant seeks an area variance from zoning law section 108.5.15 to permit a side yard setback of 16 feet 1 inch where 20 feet is required. Whereas, now therefore be it resolved that the Zoning Board of Appeals makes the following findings in accordance with section 267-B of the Town Law and Hyde Park Zoning Law section 108-33.6B2 regarding the requested variance. Number one, the requested variance will not produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to a nearby property. There is an adequate distance from the proposed deck and the nearest neighborhood home as to not impinge upon or disrupt their view corridor. The deck will be in the rear of the house and not visible from the road. Moreover, other properties in the area have similar outdoor recreation spaces, such as decks or pools. Number two, the benefits sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the area variance. The deck encroaches into the side yard setback as a result of shifting the existing footprint to accommodate a staircase with short risers that can reach the nearby driveway. Shifting the staircase further forward, the resident is not feasible as it would impede the property owner's ability to maintain the chimney. Number three, the requested variance is not numerically substantial as only a corner of the deck encroaches on the setback. Number four, the requested variance will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical environment or conditions in the general neighborhood or district. There will be only a slight shift in the existing deck to accommodate the proposed constructed staircase. There will be virtually no impact on the surrounding environment. And number five, the difficulties are self-created as the deck existed when owner purchased the home. Be it further resolved that the Zoning Board of Appeals hereby grants the requested variance subject to the following conditions. One, pursuant to section 108-33.5F1, the authorized activity must commence within 1 year from the date of issuance, otherwise it is revoked. And number two, payment of all fees in escrow.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second?
Madam Secretary, would you poll the board, please?
Yes. Ms. Daly?
Yes.
Mr. Donnelly?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins is absent. Vice Chair Bowen?
Yes?
And Chairman McNary?
Yes. Congratulations.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Look forward to your deck. When's the party?
As soon as we can get it going.
1 month from today.
How soon, now this information will go over to the building inspector to issue the
The building
permit?
permit?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can he start?
Demo?
Demo work, or should we wait for the?
That's her.
The secretary needs to file the official resolution in the clerk's office tomorrow morning, and then that resolution will be attached to the building permit authorization. It will be returned to the building department. I do not know what their, I
Okay,
assume it will be soon, but I don't.
Okay.
okay, that's fine.
Okay, but we have
Thank
to
you,
wait for the
folks.
permit for him to start breaking down the old deck?
I would think so. Do
Okay.
you know if the inspector has been out to?
He has.
He has, yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
He
contact
basically
him
approved it,
tomorrow.
it's just basically off this approval, so.
Okay, great.
Okay,
All right.
good.
Thanks,
Thank
folks.
you.
Thank you.
Good.
Appreciate it. As soon as we
luck.
have something, I'll let you know.
It'll be a little, okay, it'll be a little cooler tomorrow.
Yes, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Take care.
Okay, we want to now continue with the public hearings, and the first one is to continue the public hearing with the Hospice 2025-03Z. Hospice, Inc. is requesting a variance to allow the increase in scale of the previous granted variance of 30,000 square feet from the required 6,000 to 402 square feet to allow 21 additional parking spaces. I would move to open this public hearing.
Motion.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
We had a good site visit last week? Yeah, last week, in terms of understanding the issues. Is there any new information that we should be aware of since we were there?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Let me ask, impressions, Paul or Jerry, in terms of, you were there, impression of this variance that we're addressing, in terms of questions that are still in your mind?
I don't have any questions. I think we met, they answered everything that all the concerns I had, and I appreciate that they put the block on the back of the lights so it wasn't like blinding the neighbors. I appreciate that. So, and I appreciate all the work they're doing to address the flooding issues as well.
It was a very informative visit, and thank you to yourself and to the engineer, the two engineers that were there. They were very explanatory in terms of the runoff situation. They showed us all the different aspects that you've put into place, and also where you're putting the parking spaces. It's smart. I don't myself see any problems with what you're proposing, it was a very helpful site.
Good,
visit. Thank
I'm
you.
glad y'all could make it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I likewise want to appreciate your time and clearly understand more clearly where the 21 new spots, new spots are going to be, and the flow of water off of those really goes into the grass and is not really pouring down anywhere else. So your ability to handle the water from this new space, I understand completely, and was impressed by the planning that you're doing, and also understand the water that's coming from Dollar General's direction, that you're also retaining and managing that at the same time,
Right.
which I think was not something that I was aware of. So I think from that perspective, we understand this, and I think as a board, we're looking forward to making a decision. I think we do need to, we are waiting for some resolution, but my patience are maybe to July and no later than that in terms of us coming together to make a decision on this resolution. I will say, I think, also Rich, I think, was impressed by what you're doing there. And it's clear in our minds, you need 21 more spaces. We had to park on the street, so to speak, and I know you didn't bring in extra cars to do that, but we want to appreciate also the work that you're doing in terms of the organization. It's a community, it's needed for the community, and we do appreciate that.
Thank you.
So what I will, let me ask, is there anybody from the public that has any other comments?
Well,
sorry, Mr. Chairman, if I
Yeah.
may. Have you had further discussions with the town's engineer about the existing drainage issues that the town's looking to solve?
With the town about what?
About the existing drainage issues?
No further discussions other than our engineer finished the survey that was necessary, had been requested by the town's engineer, and that's been turned in about a month ago.
Okay. And you
I haven't heard
about next
anything
steps from
further.
the town?
No,
Okay.
nothing. The engineer's report did say that we're not contributing or causing the flooding at 65 East Dorsey.
I believe that the consulting engineer has done at least a preliminary review of the assessment that was submitted by Joe Berger, and they're still looking at some things and want to have further discussions with Mr. Berger. It has not yet been, stamped and agreed to.
Okay.
So I know that there's more to come.
My sense is, from our board, is that we're prepared to move ahead, and we would hope that they would come to some conclusion in terms of their studies.
Yeah.
You,
My suggestion would be that the board seek comment from the town's engineer at this point.
okay. We will get that prior to the next meeting. Okay. You have any comments? You were there at the site visit.
Yeah, I think that they've done a phenomenal job. They took care of a problem that had been there for a while in the southwest corner of the property to make sure that that did not affect the surrounding people. I looked at the contours pretty carefully, and it appears that it's a very huge basin that lies between 9G and Creek Road. It's a very huge basin, and water comes from every direction.
Right,
And it doesn't have a lot of places to go.
right.
So.
Good point. Could I ask, Tad, would you ask the town's engineer that if they want a meeting with Joe Berger, I'll help expedite that.
I will let them know.
Thank you.
Okay. That said, I would move then that we continue the public hearing to... Go ahead.
You might want to ask if anyone from the public.
I did.
Oh, I know, but then and then I interrupted with a question.
Okay.
So,
Let me
sorry.
ask again. Is there anybody else from the public who would like to have a comment?
Not at this time. I'm just here for information.
Okay. Donna, anything? Okay. All right. Good. Then I would move that we continue public hearing to July 23rd, 2025. And at that point, I think we are prepared to complete our decision.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Good evening.
Motions, please?
There's a motion to continue. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Madam Secretary. Okay, now we move to Tortorella, 226 Cardinal Road. Anybody here for that?
Excuse me, Chair? Mr. Tortorella indicated that his representative, Gary Zingaro, and the Tortorellas are not able to be here.
Okay.
But they have made the required changes that you asked for, and I have forwarded the revised plans to everyone, and
Okay.
As Sarah can weigh in, I think you would
Okay.
be able
Let
to
me-
go ahead and vote on the
Let
resolution.
me formally move
Yeah,
move to open the public hearing, to
Yes,
continue public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, sorry, I'll just state for the record that Mr. Tortorella's representative did authorize the board to move ahead on this in his
Okay.
absence.
All right.
Okay.
Then I move to open the continued public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now, do we have anybody else who'd like to speak to this? I don't think so. Okay. We are looking then at a variance to allow a side yard setback of 10 feet at the closest point and up to 18 feet inches at the furthest point where 25 feet is required. Now, they have since subsequently moved it to 9 feet and 17 feet respectively. They have been able to adjust it. Is that correct?
With the overhang, it is 10 feet and 18 feet, 8 inches.
10 feet and 18 feet. Okay, still stays at that center. Okay, all right. Therefore,
You would need to close the public
I
hearing.
know, I
Sorry.
know. That's-
I apologize. Jumping in.
Oh, it's all right, it's all right. I need all the help I can get. I would move to close the public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We do have an application, which I will go through. This is Brent and Colleen Tortorella, 226 Cardinal Road, Hyde Park, New York, dated June 25th, 2025, resolution 2025-05Z. Whereas the applicant, Gary Zingaro, on behalf of the property owner, Brent and Colleen Tortorella, have submitted an application for an area variance to construct a garage attached to an existing single-family dwelling at the property located at 22 Cardinal Road, Hyde Park, identified as tax parcel number 626504515481 in the General Greenbelt Zoning District, whereas the project is depicted on a plan entitled Garage Addition, Tortorella Residence, prepared by David Freeman, dated April 15th, 2025, and revised June 2nd, 2025. And whereas the applicant seeks an area variance from a zoning law, section 1085.15, to permit a side yard of 10 feet at the closest point and up to 18 feet 8 inches at the furthest point as shown in the submitted sketches where 25 feet is required. Whereas the pursuant to 6 NYCRR 617.5C17, the granting of an area variance for a single-family, two-family, or three-family residence of a Type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act is not subject to review under the Act. Whereas now therefore be it resolved that the Zoning Board of Appeals makes the following findings in accordance with Section 265B of the Town Law of Hyde Park, Zoning Law, Section 108-33.6B2, regarding the requested variance. The requested variance will not produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties. The design for the applicant's garage addition will enhance appeal of the property and provide storage for the applicant's vehicles. The residence on the closest property is set back further to the south of the applicant's property and is buffered and screened by existing trees and vegetation. Several properties in the neighborhood have attached garages. Number two, the benefits sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some other method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance. While it appears, given the lot size, that the garage would be located in an alternative area on the property, and any alternative would require the applicant to reorient and extend the existing driveway, the location proposed by the applicant at the end of the existing driveway is the most feasible location for the garage addition. Number three, the requested variance is numerically substantial. The variance will change the permitted minimum side yard setback of 25 to allow 10-foot setback at the southwest corner, which is a reduction of approximately 60%. And additionally changes the minimum side yard setback from 25 to 18 feet 8 inches at the northwest corner, which is a reduction of approximately 26% of the setback for the construction of the new two-story accessory garage. Pardon me. I'm excited. The requested variance number 4 will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the general neighborhood or district. The garage addition is proposed to be constructed over an area of the existing paved driveway. As such, there will be limited increase in the impervious surface to the property resulting from the proposed addition. Number 5, the difficulties are self-created and applicants purchase the property as is. Be it further resolved that the Zoning Board of Appeals hereby grants the requested variance subject to the following conditions. Number 1, pursuant to Section 108-33.5F1, the authorized activity must commence within 1 year from the date of issuance, otherwise it is revoked. And 2, payment of all fees and escrow. It has been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Madam Secretary, would you poll the board?
Yes, I just want to mention one thing. The applicant did submit something indicating that the driveway is not paved, that it is dirt. So can we strike the word paved before driveway, just to, in the sake of accuracy?
Okay.
Okay. Is that
there
a-
should be a motion to
Oh, to-
Motion
adopt the
to-
resolution as revised.
As revised per the secretary's comments.
Second.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
all right.
Okay.
Madam Secretary, you're on.
Yes. Ms. Daly?
Yes.
Mr. Donnelly?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Vice Chair Bowen?
Yes.
Chairman McNary?
Yes. Okay. Let's move on. We go to a Makuchi 2025-07Z, 16 Riverview Circle, Poughkeepsie. The owner is asked to allow a side yard setback of 9 feet where 25 is required, and allow a rear yard setback of 24 feet where 50 feet is required, and allow a height of 25 feet where 22 is the maximum allowed for an accessory structure, and to allow a stream corridor setback of 59 feet where 100 feet is required for the construction of a detached garage associated with a single family. I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Hi.
Hi.
We had the number of people visited you.
Yes.
I think, and there's been some good discussion about this.
Yeah.
Rich, do you want to, you came up with an idea.
Well, I think you were going to come back to us with a couple of changes. Did we get those yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Have we received those?
I received a revised plan,
Okay.
but I don't know what happened at the site visit, and if it's a greater variance, then
Actually, it's less.
before we were going to have to re-advertise and have another public hearing.
Actually, it's less.
And that's not what
It
I
is-
received on the
it
plan.
It is a little bit greater in some respects because of the orientation,
Right.
yes.
Do we want to describe, we're basically talking about moving the garage
Correct.
to the northeast corner.
Yes.
Okay. And that would, then we will have two variances on both of those sides.
It will allow him better egress in and out of the garage. It will allow, if he ever needed to get his septic redone, somebody to get past the house and the garage to work on the septic. Otherwise, that couldn't happen.
Yes.
Okay. And that's in the plans now. Those have been, we've received those, Madam Secretary?
Yes, so the side yard went from 9 feet to 5 feet, and then the rear went from 24 to 2 feet.
And we don't have a measurement on the stream, do we?
And I don't have a new measurement for the
It's further
stream
from the-
corridor.
It's further from the street.
I need an exact measurement,
That
though,
should increase.
for before next month.
Yes.
'Cause we're gonna have a public
Absolutely.
hearing for these new measurements next month.
I
Okay.
understand.
Okay.
Okay.
So, all right. Let me ask you, is there anybody from the public that has comments on this? And did we receive any public comments?
No.
No, okay. So, I would move that we continue this hearing until next month, July 23rd, so that we can look at the completed drawings and the new description of the variances. Clearly, we will be, some will be more, some will be less.
Yes.
And it sounds like we have also looked at the question of the wetlands and that's not, am I correct? That's not impinging on this at this point?
Correct.
Okay, okay. So we've reconfigured it. I think it's great. We really appreciated the number of could come out for the site visit, and
Yeah.
we understand it a lot more now.
Yes, yes, absolutely. It was definitely more advantageous to put it where you guys suggested than, we were trying to keep it as far off without infringing on the septic in the house, but it's just the legitimate spot for the garage, really. So
Yeah.
we could just come straight down the driveway
Right.
into it instead of affecting that big, beautiful tree in the middle there. I want to avoid
Yeah,
doing any
want to save
damage
that.
to it. It's as old as the house.
You got to save that.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. It's talked to you. I know.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right, so I have moved that we...
Seconded.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. So we will see you next month, and we'll have the completed,
Did we set the
New
public hearing
revisions?
for next month?
Yes.
I'm sorry?
We did set the public hearing
Yeah,
for
that was
next
that
month?
motion just now.
Yeah, motion was to continue this hearing to July
And then we'll
23rd.
revise it and re-advertise it. Or do we have to close and have a new one?
No, you can continue it.
I can't
However,
continue?
there needs to be new notice and
Right.
re-advertisement.
Yes,
Yes.
Okay?
So we're continuing the public hearing.
yes.
Okay, all right, good. Thank you, sir. Appreciate all of your input, and we learned a lot. And I think we can get that moving along for you.
Great. Thank you so
Okay.
much. I appreciate your help.
Thank you for coming.
All right, have a good day.
Take care.
Okay, the next is River Edge, and I would move to open the public hearings for River Edge 2025-08Z on Hudson View Terrace. Ridge, I beg your pardon. Hudson View Ridge?
Hudson View Terrace.
Terrace, okay, what did I say? Ridge, okay, beg your pardon. I would move to open the public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Welcome, sir.
Thank
And your name?
Kevin McLaughlin.
Okay. Oh, you're the famous Kevin
I
McGraw.
am.
Okay, good. And tell me just quickly, it looks like we built an extra fireplace over,
Every building has a fireplace.
okay,
Out of the 108 units we're building, only 2 had encroached it, unbeknownst to me, by the engineer.
okay,
And Ted and Peter caught it, which brings us to tonight.
okay. Are there any other, I know you're still building down there, is there any others that,
No, there's no other fireplace that will be encroaching at all ever.
okay, so you won't come back with more fireplaces?
I'm building the last building right now.
Okay, okay, all right. I think it's pretty clear. Are there any public, anybody from the public? No, did we receive any,
No, we have not.
we have not, okay. Is there any other information that we need to know, sir?
2.5 feet per chimney.
Okay,
encroaching.
all right, then I would move to close the public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. I think we have, now, we've got 2 resolutions. Can we read them all? You got to read them each?
I would recommend.
do I
that
open-
we
have to
each,
open the next
Because
one?
they're technically for 2 separate properties.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Want me to do one?
Though they are
I'll do one.
very
here.
much
Let's see.
similarly written.
Be sure if I got the right one here first. This is 8Z, and this is 9Z. Okay, you can read 9Z. I'll read 8Z here. We could probably, well, okay. All right, resolution to grant an area variance, River Ridge Associates, 136 Hudson View Terrace, Hyde Park, New York, June 25th, 2025, resolution 2025-08Z, whereas the applicant and owner, River Ridge Associates, has submitted an application for an area variance to allow a fireplace overhang to protrude 2.5 feet into the rear yard setback at the property located at 136 Hudson View Terrace, identified as tax parcel number 6066047082215 in the waterfront zoning district, whereas the project is depicted on a plan entitled River Edge Lot H, prepared by Donald Philip Shield, dated 05/05/2025, and whereas the applicant seeks an area variance from the zoning law section 108.5.15 to permit a side yard setback of 7.5 feet, whereas 10 feet is required. Whereas pursuant to 6 NYCRR 617.5C17, the granting of an area variance for a single-family, two-family, or three-family residence is a Type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act and is not subject to review under the Act. Whereas, now therefore be it resolved that the Zoning Board of Appeals makes the following findings in accordance with Section 267B of the Town Law of Hyde Park Zoning Law, Section 108-33.6B2 regarding the requested variance. Requested 1, the requested variance will not produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties. Other properties in the area are similarly situated such that the project would not be out of character with the neighborhood. Moreover, the encroachment of the overhang is not substantial. 2, the benefits sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some method feasible to the applicant to pursue other than an area variance. The fireplace overhang could not be located elsewhere or designed differently without unnecessary cost and land disturbance. 3, the requested variance is not numerically substantial. The encroachment, the overhang into the setback is relatively minimal. 4, the requested variance will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the general neighborhood or district. The area variance will not have a significant impact on the environment due to the small size of the overhang, and no ground disturbance will result. 5, the difficulties are self-created. The applicant purchased the property as is while the 10-foot rear zoning setback was in place. Be it further resolved, the Board of Appeals hereby grants the requested variance subject to the following conditions. Pursuant to Section 108-33.5F1, the authorized activity must commence within 1 year from the date of issuance, otherwise it will be revoked. And 2, payment of all fees and escrow. It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Madam Secretary, would you poll the board, please?
Yes. Ms. Daly?
Yes.
Mr. Donnelly?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Vice Chair Bowen?
Yes.
Chairman McNary?
Yes. Okay. 1 down.
Okay, resolution to grant area variance, 138 Hudson View Terrace, resolution 2025-09Z. Whereas the applicant and owner of River Ridge Associates LLC has submitted an application for an area variance to allow a fireplace overhang to protrude 2.5 feet into the rear yard setback, the project, at the property located at 138 Hudson View Terrace, identified as parcel, I think that's contagious, tax parcel number 606604708212 in the waterfront zoning district, the site. And whereas, now therefore be it resolved that the Zoning Board of Appeals makes the following findings in accordance with Section 267B of the Town Law and Hyde Park Zoning Law, Section 108-33.6B2, regarding the requested variance. The requested variance will not produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties. Other properties in the area are similarly situated such that the project would not be out of character with the neighborhood. Moreover, the encroachment of the overhang is not substantial. The benefit sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some other method, by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue, other than an area variance. The fireplace overhang could not be located elsewhere or be designed differently without unnecessary cost and land disturbance. The requested variance is not numerically substantial. The encroachment of the overhang into the setback is relatively minimal. The requested variance will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the general neighborhood or district. This area variance will not have a significant impact on the environment due to the small size of the overhang, and no ground disturbance will result. The difficulties are self-created. The applicant purchased the property as is while the 10-foot rear zoning setback was in place. Be it therefore resolved that the Zoning Board of Appeals hereby grants the requested variance subject to the following conditions. Pursuant to Section 108-33.5F1, the authorized activity must commence within 1 year from the date of issuance, otherwise it is revoked. Payment of all fees and escrow.
It's been moved, and I will second, but before we take a vote, I need to open the public hearing on this second resolution. I would move to open the public hearing for this. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there, sir, you've discussed this. This is the same variance as we just discussed with the first one. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And the same reasons for it?
Same exact
Okay.
reason.
Is there any other questions of the board on this?
No.
There being none, I would move to close the public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Madam Secretary, will you now poll the board for the resolution that we just read for this?
Thank you. Ms. Daly?
Yes.
Mr. Donnelly?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Vice Chair Bowen?
Yes.
Chairman McNary?
Yes. I hope the fireplaces work.
They all do. Thank you. Have a great night, all.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Next is Lynch. There they are. 273 North Quaker Lane. You're asking for a variance to allow a rear yard setback of 12 feet where 25 is required for the installation of propane tanks and a generator associated with a single-family dwelling. I would move to open the public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Welcome.
Mr. Chairman, excuse me. Kathleen, was the public hearing notice?
Yes,
published?
in the Poughkeepsie Journal on June 18th, 2025.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Council. Welcome. And you are?
Kathy.
No, I'm Sean.
Oh, welcome. Tell us a little bit of what you're going to do.
You go ahead.
Don't be shy. Move the microphone a little closer so we can hear all the details.
Sure. So, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we're installing a generator, a whole house generator in our house, and that required 2 propane tanks to also be installed at the same time. The location was the back of our house where we originally had a smaller propane tank for our gas stove. That got moved just a few feet to the to the south side of the corner of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And the generator is also in the back corner of the house.
Okay. So you will have 3 tanks.
No, it's still the 2. They removed the 1.
Oh, they did. Okay.
And then they just tied our stove into the new propane service that was coming.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And generator, you're going to put a generator back there as well?
Yes.
Okay.
That has a question.
Yes.
I was
Ted.
just going to say that the owner had petitioned that the tank had been there for a very long time, and it was replaced, and I did not require that the tanks get a variance, is that correct? There's no variance for the tanks, right? It's just the generator?
There is a variance
Oh, is
for
there?
the tanks, yes.
Because they did move them. Boy, I've messed up on 2 applications now,
You had-
1 each month.
You had mentioned that it maybe wasn't necessary, but it was already on the application, and we agreed to just leave it
Okay.
there.
So are we just doing the 2 tanks and the generator?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Questions from the board?
No.
No.
You have questions?
Nope.
No? Anybody from the public?
Well, maybe one.
Okay.
Whose property is around you?
Which side? The tanks are behind the
No.
house, are directly behind the house?
Right, no, I know where they are. I'm just wondering, do you know whose property it is?
Whose property to?
I think I put it in the paperwork, but
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know them personally.
I think it used to be, was it the Walshes that used to own
It's-
it? But now I think it might be,
It's LRP Land Group Limited.
Oh, wow. Who's that?
I don't know. There's acres
I
and
think they
acres
just
of
use it for
land
hunting.
behind our house, so
Okay, but there's no buildings.
there's no buildings
No.
anywhere near us, actually, on any side.
And nobody contacted you, Kathleen?
No, no public
So
comments
the
have been
tanks-
received by me.
The tanks are going to be directly,
That's the generator,
okay.
and that's the tank.
Oh, okay. Okay, so the 2 tanks are going, you've got 2 tanks.
2 tanks, that's correct, sir.
Okay, okay.
So they're going to have to pull that hose in from the road?
I'm sorry, the hose?
The hose.
Oh, yeah, that's what they've had to do from the past. They come up our driveway and
Yeah.
then they stretch it across the back
Yeah.
of the property.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
I can get it
Come
exactly.
up here and do that. Okay, all right. Good, all right. No other questions? No comments from the public? I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing. There's a
Seconded.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, I think we have a resolution here?
Yeah, I have.
Okay,
Yeah.
you want to read it,
Sure.
please?
Resolution to grant area variance, Kathleen A. Lynch and Sean Lynch, 973 North Quaker Lane, Stacksburg, New York, 12580. Resolution number 2025-10Z. Whereas the applicant and co-owner Kathleen A. Lynch, on behalf of herself and property co-owner Sean Lynch, has submitted an application for a variance to install 2 propane tanks and a generator, the project, at property located at 973 North Quaker Lane, Statsburg, New York, identified as tax parcel number 6267-04-560003 in the Greenbelt zoning district. The site, And whereas the project is depicted on a survey sketch, the plan, and an annotated aerial photo, both undated. And whereas the applicant seeks an area variance from zoning law section 108-5.15 bulk regulations to permit a rear yard setback of 12 feet where 25 feet is required for the installation of 2 propane tanks and a generator associated with a single-family dwelling. The requested variance. And whereas, now therefore be it resolved that the Zoning Board of Appeals makes the following findings in accordance with Section 267-B of the Town Law and Hyde Park Zoning Law Section 108-33.6B2 regarding the requested variance. The requested variance will not produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties. The generator will be situated behind the house away from the street and will not be clearly visible from anywhere except the owner's property. Although the propane tanks and generator are close to the property line behind the home, there are no dwellings nearby. Property adjacent appears to be 11 acres of woods. The new propane tanks are only a few feet from where a propane tank had previously been located. The benefits sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the area variance. The site and existing structures limit possible locations. The only method that would not require variance is ruled out by the obstructions on the property, such as the cellar entrance, crawl space entrance, well water casing, cellar window, bow window, and a septic manhole, which are placed along the south side of the residence. The requested variance is numerically substantial. The variance will change the permitted setback for both the generator and propane tanks from 25 feet to 12 feet, which is a 48% decrease. However, this placement is located near a wooded area, so there will be no impact to the neighborhood or adjacent property. Any detriment to the neighborhood is far outweighed by the benefits to the applicant. The requested variance will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the general neighborhood or district. The propane tank's footprint and generator's footprint are small, as shown in the aerial photo. The house is surrounded by 11 acres of woods, giving these neighbors an extensive buffer from the generator sound. 5, the difficulties are self-created. Be it further resolved that the Zoning Board of Appeals hereby grants the requested variance subject to the following condition. 1, payment of all fees in escrow. That's it.
Okay, it's been moved. Is there a second?
Second?
Madam Secretary, would you pull the board, please?
Yes, Ms. Daly?
Yes.
Mr. Donnelly?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Vice Chair Bowen?
Yes.
Chairman McNary?
Yes. Congratulations. Now, will this handle a pool too, so we can come?
If you want to allow it, sure, we'll put a pool in the corner.
Well, you can buy those acres behind you there.
That would be nice. I would
Yeah.
greatly appreciate it.
I noticed your house is really almost on the property line as it is. It was built that way, huh? You don't know who owns it. I know it's a company, but I wonder what they're going to do with all that property.
Every once in a while, we see them park on the corner and come in the back, and they hunt in the back. That's the
Okay.
only time we've ever seen it.
Probably gold mine or something. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Sure. Okay, our last issue is Teresa, 2025-11Z, 13 Curry Lane. I would move to open the public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
Madam Secretary, was this published, public hearing notice published?
Yes, in the Poughkeepsie Journal on June 18th, 2025.
Well, welcome. Welcome back.
How are you?
Good. How is you just finished the garage and the office?
Yep,
How's that working?
perfectly.
Good.
Yes.
Okay.
We're really happy with it.
Well, you come with a couple of new variances. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so we're looking...
First of all, your name for the record.
Tarcio.
Garcio.
Yep. We are looking for 3 variances, 2 related to a side deck that exits our living room, and 1 related to the generator. I'll start with the deck first. So there was an existing deck off of the, I want to say is the southwest corner. And it was smaller. We've increased the size of it by a couple of feet in each direction, which encroaches on the side yard setback a little bit further than it was. So it was already a non-conforming zoning setback there. As well as, I believe it is the same as it was in the front, but this, again, non-conforming. Our lot is very narrow. We're already built non-conforming the house, too close to the street, so anything we do in or around the house is going to be non-conforming.
The house is already non-conforming.
The house was already non-conforming.
Okay, but you want a very narrow lot.
Correct. So that is 2 variances related to the side porch, and then the one is related to the generator. And the generator, we're looking to put a little bit closer to the side yard, just because if we did the actual setback, which I believe is 12.5 feet, it's going to put it kind of in the middle of the yard.
Okay.
So it's not really a convenient place for us, and kind of setting it off to the side would be ideal. That's the side of our property where there's a house on that property, but it's much further away than the other side of the property.
Is the generator is going to be on that side?
Yep.
Is that closer to the property line than your garage, office?
No.
Okay, so it's less, and we gave you a variance for that.
We have a 3-foot variance for the garage, and
Right.
we're asking for 5 feet for the generator.
Okay. And on the other side, Mr. Corrigan will not sell you extra property for,
I haven't asked.
his property's for sale?
It is for sale, a bit out of my price range, but yeah.
Okay. Anything else we should know about it?
I don't think so.
Okay. Questions from the board? Anybody from public comments? Yes, sir. You want, sure, would you please? Just come up and
You just need to
grab a microphone there.
take one of the microphones.
Any of them work? You go.
My name is Jack Dworak. I live at 16 Curry Lane, immediately across the street from the applicant. And I just want to tell the board that they are dealing with some very fine people when it comes to designing, building, and making a better neighborhood and better Hyde Park. And this is something that they have strained with, because there's been a lot of ifs and buts about the property, but they've made it come out in a gorgeous way. So I urge the board to act favorably on it.
Thank you very much. Do you happen to be located close to the zoning administrator's property?
Yes. Zoning administrator's property is closer to the applicant's property.
Ah, okay.
There's more of an impact to her than...
It's an incestuous thing.
Okay.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you, sir, for your comment. Appreciate that very much. Other comments? We had no public, nothing from the public?
No, we haven't.
Okay. There being others, none, I would move to close the public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We have a resolution here. Lauren, I'm not pronouncing it. You say...
Tarcio.
Tarcio. You
Yes.
put the tar, not the Tarcio.
Tar, yes.
Okay. It's the Irish in me. Okay. Lauren Tarcio, 13 Curry Lane in Hyde Park, dated June 25th, 2025. Resolution 2025-11Z. Whereas the applicant and owner, Lauren Tarcio, has submitted an application for 3 area variances, 1 to locate a generator, and 2 to approve an already constructed side porch attached to an existing single-family dwelling at the property located at 13 Curry Lane, Hyde Park, New York, identified as parcel number 6065-04-641140-0000 in the Waterfront District. And whereas the applicant seeks an area variance from the zoning law, section 108.5.15, to permit a side yard setback of 8.2 feet where 25 is required for the porch, whereas the applicant seeks an area variance from the zoning law, section 108.5.15, to permit a front yard setback of 36.4 feet, whereas 50 feet is required for the porch, and whereas the applicant seeks an area variance from zoning law, section 108.5.15, to permit a side yard setback of 8.2 feet where 25 feet is required to install a generator, and whereas pursuant to 6 NYCR R617.5C17, the granting of an area variance for a single-family, two-family residence is a type 2 action under the...
Mr. Chairman, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
I just want to clarify, for the generator, you're seeking a
5 feet, not
5-foot setback,
8.2.
correct?
Yes.
So I would suggest that we revise the fourth whereas to indicate a side yard setback of 5 feet where 12.5 feet is required.
For the generator.
Correct.
5.5 feet
Nope, so 5 feet
where 25 feet is
where
required.
12.5 feet is required.
12.5. Okay. We'll stand with those corrections. Pursuant to 6 NYCR R617.5C17, the granting of an area variance for a single-family, two-family residence is a type 2 action under the state environmental quality review and is not subject to review under the Act. And whereas, now therefore be it resolved that the Zoning Board of Appeals makes the following findings in accordance with Section 267B of the Town Law of Hyde Park, Zoning Law, Section 108-33.6B2, regarding the requested variance. The requested variance will not produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties. The porch is only a few feet larger than the original. The neighbor's house on the adjacent property is approximately 100 yards from property line, and there are no improvements on their property in this location. The generator will be located behind the garage and will be concealed from view with plantings. The neighborhood's house on the north side is several hundred feet from the location. Moreover, several properties in the neighborhood have porches. The benefits sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some other method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance. The narrowness of the lot does not permit it. If the generator were located according to the setback requirements, it would be visible from the street. The house is only a few feet from the property line as built, therefore there would be no way to obtain the required setback. The requested variances are numerically substantial. The porch setback represents reductions of 67% and 27%. The generator setbacks represent a reduction of 60%. However, the variances are reasonable given the narrowness of the lot. The requested variances will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the general neighborhood or district. There are no obstructions of view or light. The structures are low profile and do not obstruct sight lines, sunlight, or air circulation for neighborhood properties. 5, the difficulties are self-created. The narrowness of the lot does not permit other options. However, the property was purchased as is. Be it further resolved that the Zoning Board of Appeals hereby grants the requested variance subject to the following conditions. Number 1, pursuant to Section 108-33.5F1, the authorized activity must commence within 1 year from the date of issuance, otherwise it will be revoked. 2, payment of all fees and escrows. I have moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Madam Secretary, would you please poll the board?
Yes. Ms. Daly?
Yes.
Mr. Donnelly?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Vice Chair Bowen?
Yes.
Chairman McNary?
Yes. Good luck on the generator, and the
Thank you
porch
so
looks
much.
good, and we look forward to monitoring it all.
I look forward to finishing finally.
Thank you very much for
Thank you so
coming.
much.
Is there any other business before the board? Madam Secretary, anything?
No, just to adjourn the meeting.
Not this. That's done.
Did you do that already?
Yeah, you did that already. Therefore, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there,
So you said you'll entertain a motion? so
I'll
we-
entertain a motion. Okay,
I make a motion that we adjourn.
okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
This meeting is subsequently adjourned for this night. Stay cool, and thank you very much.